I felt for the first time that something was wrong in the moment when the kitchen door at my sister's birthday party was half closed, and laughter was coming from inside, the kind of laughter that is never whole in my presence. It was an ordinary suburban house, white walls, wooden floors, and cheap fairy lights strung in the yard that look beautiful on Instagram but, in reality, were half burned out. I had an apron tied around my waist. As always, that was my role. Then suddenly, everyone went quiet. My sister lifted her glass, as if an announcement was about to be made. Smiling, she said, "We voted. You won't be cooking anymore. No one even likes your food." A few people laughed. Someone clapped. Someone looked away. I just nodded and said, "I understand." In that single sentence, I shut everything down. My heart, my voice, my reaction. That night I didn't say anything, but I noticed everything. Who laughed first? Who laughed later? Who looked at me and immediately bent down into their phone? The game had started, and I knew that emotional moves always make you lose. I went back to my apartment, the same two-bedroom place where the rent went up every year and a student loan payment slip was stuck to the fridge. I opened my 401k statement. A small number. Not enough, but it existed. That was my strength, reality. The next day, I went to my shift at the hospital. I wasn't a nurse, just working at the administrative desk. Files, insurance forms, questions about copays. No one yelled here, but everyone was tired. During my lunch break, I did the math. How much I could save, where I could cut expenses, and most importantly, where I could become visible. A plan began to form, slowly, quietly. I stopped cooking. Everywhere. Not on Thanksgiving, not on Christmas. I just said, "You all decide now, I'll enjoy myself." No one objected. They thought I was upset. They believed anger was a weakness. Meanwhile, I enrolled in an evening class at a community college, nutrition management. Just a certification, no noise. I joined the potluck committee at the office. There, my food was liked without my name attached. Dishes came back empty. Months passed. My sister said once, "You've changed." I said, "No, I'm busy." Silence. That was the point where the pace of the game shifts. I applied for a small catering license. Legal, simple. My apartment kitchen was inspected. Everything passed. I didn't make an Instagram account. Just local hospital events, office luncheons, PDA meetings. People asked for my name. I handed them a card. No drama. Then the day came when I was called cold. It was a family dinner, the week after Thanksgiving. Turkey leftovers, dry gravy, and the same old questions. "Why are you so quiet?" My aunt said, "People are saying you deliberately cut us off." My sister sighed, as if she were the victim. I put my fork down and simply asked, "Sorry, who is US?" That sentence fell into the room. No one answered. I didn't continue. Because in a game, you never show your entire move. A few days later, a notice came out for the city council's annual fundraiser. Open bid for catering. I applied. Low price, clear menu, on-time delivery. I got the contract, with my name on it. A small mention in the newspaper. Just one paragraph. By the next family gathering, everyone knew. No one pointed fingers. No accusations. Just that silence that speaks. My sister said, "We didn't know you could go this far." I said, "I didn't tell you." That was it. Revenge?
No, it was a game.
I didn't break the rules, I just understood them. Now I vote too, about my own life. And that vote is always cast quietly. What I learned, slowly and without announcing it, was that humiliation only works if you accept the role assigned to you. The apron wasn't just fabric, it was permission. When I untied it, no one noticed right away, because silence doesn't make noise. But silence accumulates. It compounds like interest. At the hospital, people started asking me questions that had nothing to do with forms. "Can you cater for 20? Do you do vegetarian options?" I answered professionally, neutrally, the way you answer when you don't need approval. I kept my job. Stability matters. Dreams without rent money are just fantasies. At home, I kept spreadsheets. Income.
Costs. Growth.
No inspirational quotes taped to the wall. Just numbers. Numbers don't lie, and they don't clap sarcastically either. Each empty dish, each return card, each repeat client added up. Slowly, visibly, undeniably. No one apologized. I didn't need them to. Apologies are emotional currency. I was working with something stronger. Independence. When my sister stopped joking about my food, when my aunt stopped asking pointed questions, when the room adjusted around my silence, that was the confirmation. People like to believe success announces itself loudly. That it posts, shouts, proves. Mine didn't. It just showed up on time, delivered what it promised, and left quietly. Like I learned to do. And if someday they ask me again why I don't cook for them anymore, I already have the answer. Not sharp. Not bitter. Just accurate. I already did. If this story resonated with you, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach people who need them. Thank you for listening all the way through, for your time, and for being part of this space. I truly appreciate every view, every comment, and every share.